Hello everyone, my name of course is Artimage, and I have begun an experiment. I have openly spoken about my bipolar disorder frequently on this YouTube channel, on my social media, on my Twitch streams, all over the place. It is not unknown that I am affected by bipolar disorder type 2. Over the past few years though, I believe that I have also been missed in a diagnosis for ADHD. Now, my awareness of ADHD began pretty early. My younger brother was diagnosed in 93, 94, somewhere in that range, and began treatment primarily at the time under Ritalin, which is pretty much an unheard of drug now. Over recent years, obviously, ADHD's understanding has expanded, the diagnosis criteria has expanded, and a number of people in my life have gotten diagnoses into their 30s. On top of that, my mother has also been diagnosed with ADHD ever since she had her Alzheimer's diagnosis as well. So this is not me just latching onto a fad. When I became aware that I might also have ADHD, I was like, okay, that's just something to be aware of. Now, over a few years, I started to realize I was struggling more with things that were quite familiar to me in my bipolar disorder. Things that once I became aware of it, I had coping strategies around, I could function through, I was having greater difficulty doing so. And I realized that kind of started when I had a major downswing in 2019 August, where I really couldn't do anything beyond work and then come home and play video games and avoid everything else. 2 years ago, I reached out to my doctor to try and begin the process of assessing if in fact I do have ADHD, or if this is simply a matter of my bipolar symptoms have increased and I need to look into taking care of those through some treatment options. But as I said, that was 2 years ago and there's been no progress since, and I am still finding myself struggling with these matters. So I have begun a process of diagnosis for myself. In this bottle, there are 27 Vyvanse of 40 milligrams. 27 because I took one first thing this morning at 9 a.m. So I am here to kind of force my doctor's hand and determine things about myself. Am I likely to be affected by ADHD as well? Is it my bipolar disorder becoming more problematic? I need this answer. Now, between the nature of bipolar disorder medications, my own chemical resistance and adaptation, this became the safest manner for me to figure things out without causing a lot of complications. For up to the next 27 more days, I will be taking a Vyvanse each morning and seeing how it affects me. I'm keeping detailed notes in a log, and I'm going to kind of report to everyone generally here every day. This is my project notebook, and I got started pretty early with pretty detailed notes. The light's not great for that. But as you can see, I am taking this seriously, and it's not just that one page. That was just first thing this morning when I had time to sit down and assess what I was experiencing. Let me give you the broad strokes here. I took my first Vyvanse at about 9:15 in the morning. I was able to sit down and record details about it at about 11:40 according to my details here. So I made note of the time, how I avoided taking anything citrus related as I sometimes might in the morning, and the effects. First thing I noticed is that within an hour I did start to feel the fact that I was on a stimulant. This just presented as like a tension through my body. It's not an exact word that I can use for it, but it's the closest I can come. Through the day that came on and off. It wasn't ever anything that really made me do anything atypical. My fidgeting level was pretty usual because I do fidget a lot. My mental state hadn't really changed. I did notice like a sort of heavy sensation towards my brainstem early on, but once I kind of noted it, it went away. Now this is day one, so there's not a lot to report. I did not find myself exploding with energy or frustrated at nowhere to put energy. I was really just taking the time to analyze what I was experiencing, what I was going through. And so many things were just typical. Like at one point I thought to myself, hey, I need to note this down. Let me go get my notebook. Let me find out the time. Where's my pen? I need to find my pen. Oh, here's my pen. And I've forgotten what I wanted to note down. That's not a typical thing for me. That's part of like what made me consider that I might actually have ADHD. So according to my details here, I did note that I have my typical tangents and conversations because I have off-track thoughts. the stimulant effects came and went. My biggest issue for a side effect was dry mouth. The weirdest one that came up, I'm not even sure is related to the medication, and it had to do with something that most people don't want to hear about, so I'm going to save you from hearing that. Now, as someone with bipolar disorder, Vyvanse is not the best option for me. It is the one I have the easiest access to, and that's why I'm trying it. My intention is, in the last week, I'm going to go to my doctor with this notebook full and say, hey, I think I have ADHD. I have data to prove it because I am 20-something days into taking ADHD medication that I don't feel suits me. So I'm forcing you to acknowledge whether this is accurate or not, and to work with me to find a medication that will suit me better. Now, I'd like to throw in here that this is not something just anyone should do. Really, it's not something I should do, but I'm doing it because I am at that stage and I have enough experience with chemicals, my body's resistance to them, my body's reaction to them, my body's adaptation to them, my own mental health presentation of its condition, and my coping strategies and my usual behaviors that I feel I can get through this. And I have asked many people to feel free to say to me privately, hey, I think you're having a negative reaction in this regard. And if I feel the negatives outweigh any information I'm getting, I'm going to stop immediately. This is not, I'm doing the 28 days period. This is, as long as I feel it is beneficial for me to be doing this, I will go those 28 days. But if I find 5 days in, 4 days in, 12 days in, whatever, that it is working poorly for me in any regard, I am done. So you're seeing this on Tuesday the 29th of April, after I've been through a full day, and I record this just before finishing up my day and going to bed. Day 2 will have already started for me, and you will see that tomorrow morning. Now, if you have questions about my process or my experience that I have not thought to include, please feel free to ask them. Like, I want this to be open and people understand what I'm going through, as well as the hazards that can pose to anyone else who might attempt this. This is very likely to have benefits for me, even if it is just information and then I stop because it is no longer beneficial for me to continue. Because maybe that information I go back to my doctor with, even if I've stopped the trial, says to him, oh yeah, this is your bipolar disorder becoming more of an issue. We need to look into treatment option. Maybe it's, okay, this doesn't look like bipolar exacerbating or ADHD to me. We have to really bump up that referral. Maybe even it's just a referral to say, okay, we're going to pin you down for ADHD. As soon as we're able, I'm going to harp on my colleagues about this. To be fair to my doctor, he's probably nearing retirement, as he's been doing this for longer than I've been around. So any pressing patients that he has to see to are going to take more priority than I understand that. I'm frustrated by it, but I understand that. So that's about all I have to say at this point. Again, please feel free to ask about things in the comments. I can't promise I'll respond to everything. I'll try to, even if it's just to say I don't feel that I can get into that either in a video or in a comment reply. So here's hoping this doesn't go poorly. Here's hoping that I can provide plenty of information that might be helpful to somebody. If you are concerned about your own situation where you might have bipolar disorder, please do not follow my lead. Please go speak to your doctor. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you get something out of this too. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and hang on to that awesome.